Merry Christmas, everybody. Pro here. Welcome back to my Let's Play of Super Mario Galaxy. Today we are going to be talking about family and love and all that good stuff, right? Because, well, it's the holidays and that's what you're supposed to do, right? That's what this time is for. And, like, realistically, we don't get enough of it throughout our lives, right? And that kind of brings me to my point of, of how to communicate with your loved ones, right? Because there's a right way to do it, and there's a very, very wrong way that, like, a lot of us do it, right? And then we wonder, like, hey, how come nothing's changing, or how come it feels like there's some tension or divide between us, right? And, well, that's what happens when we don't properly communicate with one another, right? Like, when it comes to any, I guess, disagreements or, like, setting boundaries and stuff like that, right? Don't attack the person. Like, I mean, I know that's pretty obvious, but, like, when you're in the heat of the moment, right, generally that stuff comes out, right? And it's unfortunate because that's what, it gets in the way of whatever you were trying to say, right? And then, yeah, like, it just kind of invalidates everything you say, even though, like, you feel it shouldn't, right? Like, well, if you come at somebody incorrectly, then they're gonna react just accordingly, right? So, yeah, treat everybody, like, or treat your people with that respect, right? Like, never cross no lines. Don't berate them. Don't tell them they're not doing good enough or anything, right? Like, and most importantly, try to understand them. Like, understand why they are doing what they're doing, right? Because they're not you. You're probably holding them to some unfair, like, your standards, right? And your standards are very different from your other your loved one's standards, right? Or even anybody, realistically, right? Because we all grew up very differently. Like, even if we have similar upbringings and stuff, like, we're very, very different people from one another. And so obviously we perceive life very differently, and different circumstances can lead to different outcomes, right? And, well, if you just judge somebody without really understanding what they're about, then you won't get anywhere, right? And all that's going to lead to is to frustration and just tension that shouldn't be there, right? So, yeah, just, like, be a little bit more open-minded and, like, well, not just open-minded, but open-hearted as well. Like, come from a place of love and listen to understand, like, what's going on with your loved ones, right? Because nobody likes to be judged. Like, you don't like to be judged. You know you don't like to be judged, right? So don't be doing that to other people, right? Like, that's the most annoying thing. It's like, hey, like, can you give me some credit, right? And then, like, you don't give your people credit, and then obviously that's just going to lead to unnecessary friction that shouldn't be there, right? The most important thing is that there should be respect, and you should be very observant of other people's, like, boundaries that they set for themselves, like, and just generally respect your loved ones, right? So, and just anybody for that matter, honestly. Yeah, like, it's unfortunate that, like, sometimes we don't have the proper what's the right word? I guess education, I guess experience, like, whatever you want to call it, to properly connect with one another, right? And that's unfortunate because that does get in the way of our human experience. So, yeah, like, just know that your people, like, are trying their best, right? And the only thing you really need to do, right, is to come from a place of love and to understand them. And, well, that's how you help them out, right? Like, you give them that non-judgmental ear that's gonna help them work through their problems, right? Like, don't be judgmental and then, like, expect them to be very positive towards you, right? Like, that's just you know, that's just kind of a pipe dream, right? Because what you're essentially saying to them is, like, hey, I'm right and you're wrong, right? And then, like, that's the absolute worst way to, like, to treat that, right? Like, it's not about being right or wrong. It's about, like, helping one another, right? That's what I mean, like, when I say, like, come from a place of love, right? Like, don't be so critical. Like, listen to them and understand what they're going through, right? And then you'll figure out soon that you guys have common ground and, like, you can see eye to eye on certain issues, right? And yeah, that's really all that's necessary, honestly. is to understand each other. So, yeah, we don't get enough of that. So, like, the world's already, like, harsh enough as it is. Like, we don't need to be bringing our own people down. So, and if you can share that love with somebody else, right? Oh, like, then you don't have to do this little sequence that I'm doing where you're going back and forth. Like, see? It's a metaphor. No, I'm totally joking. But yeah, like, that's pretty much all I have to say on that. Like, we're all trying. I promise you. Like, I didn't believe it at first myself when people would say, like, do you believe that everybody's trying their best? And I said no. Like, no, like, because if they were, like, things would be better, right? And well, that's not the case. If people just like are doing their best according to what they know, well, then, like, don't judge them for that. So yeah. Yeah, like, just love your family more and connect more, right? And I figured, since this is gonna be kind of a short episode, like, what I'm gonna do actually is I'm gonna read the library, the story that I've been talking about this whole time, right? And I'll try not to get a little emotional, because, like, it is kind of it is a beautiful story, and there's a nice little lesson in there, and, like, this is what I mean, like, when like, stories do belong in games, right? And this is a reason that Galaxy holds a special place in my heart, honestly, is, like, this little bit of storytelling right here, right? Because it's not mandatory, but it's, like, it packs quite a punch. So like, yeah, look at Mario, he just looks all surprised and stuff. Like, oh, looks like everybody, like, come on, let's get on the field, the feelings bus, you know. let the feels go round and round. So yeah, let me just read this. Chapter 1, The Celestial Duo. Our story begins a very, very long time ago with a young girl. One day, this girl spotted a rusted spaceship holding a small star child. "What's your name? Are you lost?" the girl asked the star child. "I'm Luma, and I'm waiting for Mama. She's coming for me on a comet." And the star child, who had been waiting day and night, said the child. Oops. It's okay, you guys can read. "Don't worry, I'll wait with you," the little girl promised Luma. At nightfall, the little girl borrowed her father's telescope and peered into the sky. She looked and looked, but saw nothing. Hours turned into days and then years, but still the sky revealed nothing. Finally, the little girl sighed and said to Luma, "If we stay here looking much longer, I'll be an old lady soon." But then she had an idea. "Why don't we go out there and find your mother ourselves?" The girl and Luma fixed up the rusty spaceship, and then the two set sail into the starry sky. And this is how the search for the celestial mother began. So yeah, like, they're looking for Rosalina's mom. Chapter 2, Starbits. Days passed with no sight of the comet, or even a single planet. Instead, asteroids extended for as far as the eye could see. "If I had known it was going to take this long, I would have packed more jam," said the little girl above the rumble of her belly. Before they left, she had packed all the essentials: telescope, butterfly net, stuffed bunny, bread, milk, jam, and an apricot-flavored tea. But "I forgot to bring water." At this, Luma burst into gales of laughter, and the girl began to pout. "As long as I have Starbits, I'll be fine," said Luma. "Want some?" The little girl couldn't stay mad after hearing this. Luma continued to laugh, and the girl couldn't help but join in. "Alright, maybe just a nibble." Leaning far out the ship, the pair began to collect Starbits with the girl's net. They almost fell out of a few times, but they kept on collecting. The Starbits tasted like honey. Oh, that sounds pretty cool. I want some Starbits now. Chapter 3, The Comet. A beam of light pierced through the ship's window. Thinking it was the morning sun, the girl peered through the window, only to find a turquoise blue comet shimmering at her. The little girl shook the sleeping Luma awake and shouted excitedly, "We have to get to that comet." We have to get to that comet. The pair descended on the comet and found that it was made of ice. They looked high and low, but Luma's mother was nowhere to be found. Exhausted, the little girl sat down with a flop, utterly unable to take another step. Look! Peering down at the icy ground where Luma was pointing, the girl suddenly noticed clusters of star bits encased in the ice. Pretty good, huh? Finding star bits is my specialty, said Luma, beaming. There's ice here, but it's so warm I'll bet there's water there too. The two decided to stay on the Comet for a while. Riding the turquoise Comet, the pair continued with their search for Luma's mother. Ooh. Chapter 4, The Dream. Aww. One night, the girl dreamed about her mother. Where are you going? She asked, her mother's retreating back. Without turning, her mother replied, Don't fret, dearest. I'm not going anywhere. I'm always watching over you, like the sun in the day and the moon in the night. A wave of sadness rushed over the girl. What about when it rains and I can't see the sun or the moon? Her mother thought for a moment before responding. I will turn into a star in the clouds and wait for your tears to dry. Aw, that's so sweet. When she awoke, the girl's face was damp with tears. You have star bits in your eyes, said Luma to the girl. Wiping her face, the girl replied, These are tears, not star bits. I'm crying because I'll never see my mother again. At this, Luma began to cry too. Mama, oh mama. Wah. Well, I tried. The pair traveled through the starry skies, and though they encountered many other comets, not one of them held Luma's mother. Luma was despondent. Like, I don't know that word. Now, Luma. The rain clouds won't go away, you keep crying, the girl said, giving Luma a squeeze. I'll give you a present if you stop. The girl closed her eyes and said gently, I'll take care of you. With these words, she felt a small spark in her heart. Aww. And there it is, right there. You know, the love continues. Chapter 5, Home. The kitchen will go here, and the library will go over there, the girl said busily to herself. We'll put this gate right here. Ever since the girl took Luma under her care, she'd been bustling about a feverish pace. It's a lot of work, but it's worth it to make a happy home. It turned out that the star bits weren't the only thing buried in the ice. There were tools and furniture unlike any they had ever seen, and the girl used them to build a home. Looking at the completed house, Luma remarked, Don't you think it's awfully big for just the two of us? With a library, bedroom, kitchen, fountain, and gate, it was certainly spacious, but still, something seemed to be missing. If only my father, brother, and mother were here, the girl said wistfully. Indeed, the house was too large for its two small residents. That night, clutching her favorite stuffed bunny close to her heart, the girl fell asleep in the starship. Aww. Chapter 6, Friends. Then one day, while the girl sat sipping tea, a tiny apricot-colored planet appeared on the horizon. From the planet, another Luma of the same color emerged. Do you two know each other? The girl asked the two Lumas gleefully. Despite the girl's excitement, they seemed uneasy. Aww. The two Lumas neither drew closer nor backed away from each other. Instead, they just stared. Then one Luma broke the silence. My mama! At once, the apricot Luma parroted back, My mama, my mama, my mama, my mama. The two Lumas began to dance around the girl frantically, and neither showed any sign of stopping. The girl was so charmed by this adorable scene that she couldn't help but laugh. And that's when something very strange happened. Suddenly, more Lumas began to pop out from the apricot planet. They were different colors, but they all shouted the same thing, My mama, my mama. The sight of all the shouting Lumas only made the girl laugh harder. What am I going to do with all these children? The Lumas just stared blankly as she doubled over laughing. I guess we'll have to name each and every one of you. Tomorrow, once she had finished naming them all, she would begin moving all the Lumas into the new house. Oh yeah, she was able to get a big family, and well, here's where the story takes a turn for the worst. Chapter 7, The Telescope. After seeing their 100th comet, a sudden thought popped into the girl's head. I wonder if my home planet is still as blue as it was. That's when she remembered her father's telescope. Peeking into the telescope, a tiny blue dot floated into sight. It was smaller than a star bit. How strange. It's so far away, but it feels so close. She twisted the knob of the telescope, and the blue dot grew until she could make out a grassy hill dotted with flowers. It seemed very familiar to her. Zooming in even closer, a terrace on the hill came into view. I used to go stargazing there when I lived on my home planet. She remembered rubbing the sleep out of her eyes as she followed her father up that hill to look at the stars. She remembered how she and her brother would sled down that hill. She remembered having picnics with her mother on that hill on bright and windy days. And, oh boy, here it comes. I want to go home. I want to go home right now. The girl burst into tears, and the Lumas didn't know what to do. I want to go home. I want to go back to my house by the hill. I want to see my mother. The girl was shouting now, her face wet with tears. But I know she's not there. I knew all along that she wasn't out there in the sky because she's sleeping under the tree on the hill. The girl's cries echoed through the stars, and a hush fell over the area. Oh yeah, her mom died. That's very sad. Chapter 8, The Wish. Though usually quite cheery, one day the girl became sad again. Luma drew close and tried to comfort her. Mama, you still have me. And don't be sad about your mama, because she's a part of you. That means she's always close by. It's like me. I love star bits because they remind me of my mama. No, no, the girl said, unable to stop the tears. A lonely look flickering across Luma's face, but it was soon replaced by a wide grin. I have an idea. I will transform into a comet, and a soaring comet that can carry you all on this journey. With that, Luma, trailing bands of white, soaring high into the sky, and just as quickly started to plummet back down. Kaboom, kablam! The ground shook, and a bright light poured out of the crater the Luma had created. The band of lights twisted together to form a comet tail, and then Luma emerged, reborn as a comet. The girl could scarcely believe her eyes. But how? She kept asking. Our destiny as Lumas is to transform into different things, said a red Luma who had suddenly appeared. Stars, comets, planets, we can become all of those things. When I grow up, I want to become a star that makes someone special smile, said a green Luma. A blue Luma chimed in. That Luma turned into a real cutie of a comet, didn't he? All of the Lumas together said, No more crying, Mama. Thank you, said the girl in a whisper, and she pulled the Lumas close and hugged them. From that day on, starbits no longer fell from the girl's eyes. Well, they're falling from my eyes. The comet set forth the girl's home planet, its long tail blazing proudly behind it. And the final chapter. Family. See what I did there? Yeah, that's why I was talking about that in the beginning. With its many Lumas and telescopes, the comet was quite a sight to behold. The girl and the Lumas were proud to call it home. At a welcoming party for a new Luma, the girl gathered everyone in the kitchen and said in a louder voice than usual, All right, everyone, let's make a cake sprinkled with star bits, then it will be star cake. The Lumas excitedly began to gather their ingredients. As she watched the Lumas scurry about, the girl smiled and thought to herself, This is my family now, and I will stay with them until they're ready to leave the nest. And when they do leave, I'll see them off with a smile. Because that's what makes a mother happiest. That night, when the girl laid down to sleep, a soft light enveloped her and reminded her of the blue planet she once called home. But it would be nice to return home once every 100 years to nap in her favorite sleeping nook. the comet carrying the Lumas, and the girl continued on its journey to this very day. With more family members in tow. I don't like that it's quotes. Like, just, we know what it means. With more family members in tow than can be, quote, counted, it's said that the comet visits the girl's home planet once every 100 years. Its proud white tail glittering in the sky. The end. So yeah, that's pretty much the backstory of all of Rosalina and, well, why exactly we were able to land on this Comet Observatory, right? So that's pretty cool. And well, yeah, like that story is like very beautiful because it kind of just it tells the story of just because life ends for someone, right? Doesn't mean they necessarily die out and are forever gone, right? Like the love that they shared with you, like that's never going away. I lost my grandma and my cousin 2 years ago, and unfortunately I didn't get the chance to see them before they passed away, and I was very angry, and I was just not I blame myself for not being able to be there, but I know that's not how they would have wanted me to see it, right? They wouldn't want me to feel angry, and because that's not how I would want people to feel once I eventually, like, you know, pass away and stuff myself, right? And that's just kind of how it goes, right? It's like the love that they have for me, like, it's not like that's how they live through me, right? It's like they didn't die, like their love is still out here, and like it's helped me, like you know, like able to become a better man, and I kind of want to pass that love on as well, because yeah, like that's for the longest I've had my I've closed my heart out, and I didn't want to kind of feel that anymore, and now that I don't want to feel that way anymore. I want to pass that love on, and yeah, like yeah, like I didn't mean for it to turn into this, but yeah, like that's why I say, like, hug your family members, like hold them tight, like connect with them more. Like that's the biggest thing. I feel like we have all these like great people in our lives, right? And we don't connect with them like we should. And that's the biggest part about life, right? Is to connect with your loved ones. So yeah, like, and this is the perfect time to do it, honestly. So yeah, like again, thank you so much for watching, and yeah, like take care. I love you guys, and yeah, like let's work to make this world a better place for us, because, you know, heaven is earth, and hell is what we make of it. So like yeah, just yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Take care. I'm gonna go rub these star bits out of my eyes real quick. All right, take care, guys.